What's Grounded, fam? It's your boy Johnny Gio. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Grounded Phoenix podcast. As always, the purpose of this channel is to express vulnerability and expand awareness to addiction, trauma, and mental health. I have Alika on the mic with me right now. What's Grounded, bro?
What's up, bro? Thank you so much for having me, man. I love to spread the message, you know what I mean? That recovery is possible, you know, especially like today, you know, with everything shut down, pandemic, you know, a lot of people struggling and they didn't have the resources I had when I got sober, you know, because everything is shut down. Like 12-step programs is like all online. So how do they find it online? You know, all these different things. So, you know, but the one thing that it will never shut down is social media.
Exactly.
It's never going to shut down.
Exactly. It's a really good platform to spread the message and to, you know, even share stories as we're doing here. And I know you have your own channel and show as well. So I give you props for that, bro. I give you props for that. I know it's not easy to get on the camera and talk about vulnerable stuff. And first and foremost, dude, congratulations on, you know, almost being 4 years sober.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, man. You know, I like to thank God, man. I give God the glory. Everybody else around me the credit, you know, because I cannot. You give me an inch, I'm gonna take a mile. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you know what's crazy is that I was looking into your channel, and recovery is not the only thing that you talk about. You also talk about marriage with your wife. And I think that's very important. I think that's huge because being raised as, you know, in a broken home myself, it's not something that I'm used to. And I'm sure a lot can relate to this. Just seeing the unity. Yeah,
definitely. You know, and this is something that is totally out of my wife's comfort zone. I know you guys were talking earlier.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's something that we decided to do because we started reading this book. Our pastor wrote it, and we started doing a chapter a day. And we read it. Since we met each other, we read it every year. You know, we read this book, and then we decided to, you know, put it, make a video because it has benefited us so much in our marriage. And see, the one thing I know how to do, guaranteed, is how to have a woman stay away from me. You know what I mean? Like every woman before my wife, all of them said, I do not.
Right.
You know, active in my addiction, you know, because it was all about me. I'm not thinking about you. I'm thinking about me. I have more time for you. I have only time for me. And I found out that women, they don't like that. They like to be thought of, you know?
Yeah, of course. I mean, us men too. Us men, we you know, we like to be thought of and everything. So props for that, bro. Props for that. You know, I really appreciate that. And yeah, dude, you know what? Moving forward with your recovery and everything, we're going to get into the solution aspect. Yeah. But, you know, before we do that, do you mind sharing with us and giving us a backstory of your drug of choice and, you know, how your life was prior to being sober?
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, I'll get right into it. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time, but I'll get into it. So, I identify as an addict and an alcoholic today. You know, cocaine and vodka, those are my two big ones I would go to. Any kind of, I did anything, but those are my main go-tos. And I was born and raised in Hawaii.
Nice.
I lived there my whole life up until 4 years ago when I moved here. I moved here in 2016 in October. And, you know, but growing up in Hawaii, it was, you know, I had a good childhood, bro. Like, I don't have any excuse why I became an alcoholic. Like, not at all. My parents are still married to this day. I had a very good childhood, a lot of love and support and structure, you know. So, me personally, I think the reason why, like this happened to me, why I became an addict alcoholic is because I really liked the effect that it produced for me. Because naturally I'm an introvert. So, you know, first drunk was blackout at age 13.
Same. Yeah. Similar. 12. I told you I dropped my hand.
yeah, that's right. You know, I was 13, and believe it or not, I got blackout drunk on Coors Light.
Coors Light?
Yeah. You know, it's like water, you know.
I was about to say, might as well drink water.
You know, and the years went on, you know, I moved on to the heavier stuff.
You graduated.
Yeah. And I started doing cocaine when I was 15. And then, you know, that was my main drug of choice, but I did everything. I did whatever. The only things I actually did not do was heroin because it's not big and popular in Hawaii. If it was, I guarantee it would have been shooting up, you know. But I had friends that would shoot dope in their arm. They would cook the coke and blast it in their arm. I just like, it takes too long, you know, like you gotta heat the thing up, you gotta just boom, you know, and then you get,
feel the drips and everything.
Yeah, you get 8 seconds of high, and then you get 8 hours of just paranoia, you know, after that.
Oh my God, it's a chaser, bro. It's a chaser.
Yeah. But naturally, you know, I was introverted, and I just liked the effect it produced. You know, I could talk to the chicks. I seemed more attractive. I was just beaming with self-confidence. And, you know, and then from that age on, it just progressed. You know, I remember, well, that blackout, I woke up naked in my friend's house in the room. Like, they're all up, they're all watching TV in the room, like 10 of us, you know. And I'm naked on the ground, you know, one sleeping bag on me. Like, oh, what happened? Where are we? What's going on? I didn't even know what's going on.
Wow.
You know, it was crazy. So, you know, Hawaii is not all sunshine and rainbows for everybody, you know, but I think it can be for anybody. It just depends on our perspective, I guess you could say, you know, and our decisions and choices that we make. But from that age, it just progressed, man. It got worse and worse and worse. I never did get better. I only got worse. I it's not like I started drinking and using, you know, like every weekend. Then I went like, okay, twice a month. No, I never did that. It was all every other weekend, every weekend. Okay, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, it just started to progress and progress. And kind of fast forward the tape, I'm grown already. I mean, I've been through so much different relationships, used so much women. I developed like a certain way of thinking because I'm trying to chase the drug, chase the drink. You know, my thinking changed. I became very selfish. I was very good at manipulating.
Ooh, that's big.
I was very good at lying, deception. Like, I got a PhD in deception, you know.
Yep.
And it was just crazy. Like, I would lie, like, even when I don't need to lie, like, I would lie. Like, in a sober state of mind, I would just, you know, so that way of thinking just transitioned, even though I'm not even under the influence of drugs and alcohol. You know, that same kind of type of, because you separate that from me, my thinking is still the same.
Right.
You know, so I remember, like, when I got into recovery, I learned that, man, oh, damn, I am the problem. I was like, what? Yep. Oh, man, you know.
That's hard to, that's a tough pill to swallow, right?
That one was, bro. That one was. So it progressed. And then so, you know, going through all these relationships, can I hang on to a woman to save my life? Like, literally, like, I'm not exaggerating. You know, my good looks, because I used to look a lot more better and fit, you know, back then.
Bro, you're a solid guy, bro. You're a solid guy.
Yeah, and, you know, my good looks could only take me so far. I'm not kidding. Once they found out what I was really like, bam, they were gone.
Like a ghost.
Like, even the girls that was addicts and alcoholics too, bam, they couldn't hang out with me.
Holy shit.
You know what I mean? Like honestly, sometimes we would just use each other, you know, for party and stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I know what that's like.
So then I ended up, from the Big Island, I ended up moving to Oahu. And then I got a job in Waikiki as a valet. So I was working as a valet. And this is in 2012. And this is when, like, 2012 was the worst year of my life. I drank every day and I used every day for that year. And I was working at the Trump. So the international, there was like this long thing. Like, when the guests come out, when they show up, we literally had to say, welcome to, what we had to say? We had to say, welcome to the Trump International Hotel, Waikiki Beach Walk. We had to say that to every person, you know. So I found out, I wasn't long into working there, the doorman was supplying everybody with cocaine. You know, he was the dealer. And he showed me one day. I thought he was kidding. And he showed me, he had a huge bag. He had like half an ounce with him. And then I was like, oh, you're not kidding. And then, man, I just progressed so rapidly at that point. Like, I'll party all night. And then, you know, I'll just lie to my boss and like, why can't I come to work? I'll give him all kind of crazy lies.
Same.
You know, like, oh, my son got into a car accident on the Big Island. I got to fly back home. I'll go on my phone, buy an airline ticket for Hawaiian Airlines, screenshot it, text it to him so it's more believable. You know,
wow.
But then there was one time we partied all night. I worked at the 3 to 11 shift. Party all night, drinking and using all night. Then I had to work again at 3 o'clock. But for some reason, I decided to go to work in that state of mind. I don't know why. And then, you know, and I'm straight tweaking, like I'm sweating, and like I'm not even making sense when I'm talking.
Oh my God.
You know, and then, but like afterwards, like, you know, like way later on, I started thinking to myself, like, I wonder, they all knew I was doing drugs. They all knew, everybody I worked with, my boss, everybody. And like, I was thinking, why didn't they send me home? I could have crashed one of these $100,000 cars, you know what I mean? Because I would go run up and get them. I knew where all the camera was in the garage. So I'll be driving with my legs, and I have my own car keys in my bag. Boom, okay, camera, turn, okay, boom, camera, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Bro.
And like, they all knew that, you know, and it was so embarrassing and humiliating. Gotta keep coming back to work after that happened. So there was one time where I ran out of excuses of what to tell my boss. So I had the idea of beating myself up. I literally punched myself in the face as hard as I could, as long as I could, until my eye was literally closed. Oh, I looked like Rocky, you know what I mean? And then I took a picture of my face. I sent it to him. So I got into one fight, blah, 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 bunch of excuses. And then, okay. But then, eventually all the lies, it caught up with me and I got fired. You know, but that literally in a nutshell was what it was like for me. My life was a vicious cycle of torment. Even in a sober state of mind, I was still suffering, and I was suffering from myself, from my own, self-inflicted, like emotionally, mentally, like it wasn't because of, the drugs and alcohol was always my solution. It was never my problem. It was always the solution to all my problems, And then, honestly, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And then 2016, ended up moving up here, up in Rancho Cucamonga is where I live now, actually.
Right.
But I was staying with my sister, and the line kept going and going. I was so good at lying already at this point, and she would let me use her car. I'll tell her I'm going to work. I'll be going up to Victorville, grabbing, buying an 8-ball, and then, pretending I'm gone for 8 hours. But I was like, perfect. I could party for 8 hours by myself or with one of my friends, and then come back home. And eventually, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a bad storm in 2016, and the 15 freeway broke, and I was up in Victorville. It was really bad, a storm. So when I'm trying to leave Victorville, thinking, okay, I'll be home in time. No, my sister's not gonna think nothing. And then the cars just lined up so far back. I was supposed to have been home at 8 p.m. I got home at 2 a.m. because of all the traffic. But rewind a little bit, I never had any money to buy dope, so I decided I had a brand new iPhone. I'm gonna go sell them. So that's what I did, because I've been going to Victorville so much. I already know how to get up there. I don't need a map, I don't need GPS.
Right.
And then, so my sister trying to call me. She I don't have a phone though, so she didn't know what the heck's going on. So when I come home, it was just lie on top of lie on top of lie on top of lie. When the truth finally came out, she didn't even believe me, and it was days later when the truth actually came out. Because I kept it a secret. My parents didn't know. And I was using and drinking for 20 years, from 13 to 33. And, I hurt her. I damaged our relationship between, me and my sister. I mean, not her, but tons of other people as well. Of
course.
Yeah. And then that's when, I never reached out my hand and told somebody, you know what, bro, I'm struggling with drugs and alcohol. Can you help me? I had too much pride. I made a decision. I'm going to die from it or I'm going to die with it. That's it. I'm not going to, reach out for help because, I would go back in for it. I don't have a problem. Yes, you do. No, you don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't. Yes, you do. And, but that's how I ended up making it into recovery. And, I've been sober ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight to the point, man. Dude, that was so concise, man.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And you know what? I really relate to a lot of things you said when it came to manipulation, when it came to lying, when it came to the relationships, when it came to losing your job, bro.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Yeah.
When your life becomes unmanageable, that's how you know. And it's crazy how we have our ego that tells us, you don't have a problem. This isn't you. You're not in a tent somewhere.
Yeah.
And you said you had such a positive upbringing. There was structure and everything. And that just goes to show for people that are listening, that your life doesn't have to be so chaotic early on. It could start even if you are living a pretty good life.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, man. I appreciate that.
No worries. Yeah, it's all good.
I'm going to go forward and just ask you a couple questions, dude. I'm going to ask you a couple questions because I really want your feedback. And I know you're going to give me some really positive answers, especially for people out there. They may be struggling with addiction right now.
Yeah.
So the first question and the first topic I want to talk about is in your early recovery, which is post-acute withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you kick a drug or alcohol. Yeah, you get the shakes, you get the hangovers, but then afterwards, there's a period of time early on where you're just not feeling yourself. What was your experience with post-acute withdrawal symptoms?
Yeah, well, I drank, vodka was my drink. And every time I drank, it was always at least one bottle. That's what I would drink. Sometimes, then actually it turned into the bigger one, the big boy, the handle. I would just drink it straight too. But by the time I came to California, I never had really any money. So I couldn't go buy alcohol as much as I used to back home when I still had my career and everything. So I the delirium tremens, like I used to get them a little bit, like back home. Like I remember, after a long run of partying, drinking and using, like I'm like, trying to pour a cup of water. I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? But, kind of fast forwarding over here, living in California, I never experienced that because I wasn't consuming alcohol as much, but with the cocaine, it was more psychological. It didn't affect my body like how alcohol does, and like heroin. It's very physical, the body. It was more mental. It was more, like, bro, what you looking at? The person looking at me, more aggression. I get angry more often. I get these major mood swings. Right. And especially when things never go my way. Or
exactly.
Like the littlest thing could set me off. Like, bro, the fight was supposed to start at 6. What is it? 8 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about, man. That's crazy, dude. Was early on in your recovery, was there any triggers that may have caused you to relapse that you struggled with?
The first year when I got sober, I was in a sober living for 1 year. I stayed in a sober living, so I had somewhat structure there, and I wasn't. And another thing that I think benefited me was living in California, because if I tried to get sober in Hawaii, it guaranteed would have been way more difficult for me, because everybody knew me. I knew everybody. It's an island, you know what I mean? All my friends know where I live. My family know where I live, and they all drink, and not all use, but a lot of them that I would really hang out with all the time, they used a lot, like me. So they could just stop by anytime. See, in Hawaii, you do not need to call somebody or text somebody you coming over. You can just show up. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's all good. It's like, oh yeah, come inside.
Because it's all family oriented and stuff.
Just like how we're talking, the Mexican culture, the Hawaiian culture, very similar, man. We're very family oriented. We love everybody, and then we like to drink. Alcohol is part of the Hawaiian culture.
It's a must.
Yeah, but so triggers. What would trigger me was money. Money was a big trigger for me.
Oh,
I remember when I first got sober, I was deathly afraid of going back to work because I will have money. And then I was sharing this with my sponsor one day, and then he asked me. My sponsor, the one thing he has never done to this day, he has never ever told me what to do. He's never made me do anything ever. It's all like when I come to him with a problem, he always will start talking and asking me questions back. If he knows the answer, he doesn't go, oh, here it is, boom. He makes me think. And as I'm starting to think, and then I end up figuring out the answer to my question, But anyways, he started asking me questions like, okay, the last run you had, or the last high, tell me that story again. I didn't know where he was going with it. So, I told him the story. Okay, I was at my sister's house. I had the thought, I'm going to use... So I decided, what am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to sell my cell phone. So that's what I did. I sold it to some guy who had a shop, and he sells cell phones. And I sold it to him. And then he goes, And I'm thinking, what? Like, I don't understand. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So, like, the point he was making is, like, money, no money. If we want to drink and use, we're going to drink and use. We will find a way. So I was like, when he said that, I was like, oh. That's right, because back home in Hawaii, I had a career in finance. I did it for 16 years, and I was making a lot of money. I was traveling all over the world. Now, living here, my first job I ever got was at Chevron. So, like, I was up here, like, status-wise, or whatever you call it. The income was coming in, and, now I'm, like, over here, like, cleaning toilets and restocking shelves and, wiping down the gas pumps, but God knew I needed that. I needed so much doses of humility, because I didn't know what it was. I really did not. I claimed to be humble, but my actions and my words said otherwise.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was very good at lying to myself. So in my mind, Yes, I am. And I was super judgmental. I would be like this. My way of thinking was, I'll judge you by your actions, but then I'll judge myself by my intentions. Ooh, I want to talk to my wife like that. I wouldn't have mistreated her. But like, I did all of those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Man, that's crazy the way the ego has its way with us, man.
Yeah.
And I really like the way your sponsor gave you that example and he let you figure that out on your own. And you were just like, wait, it doesn't matter with money or no money. I'm going to find a way. So that gave you the power to say, hey, if I didn't have money, I could have gotten hype, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But I didn't. That's a very incredible story, man. Really, thank you for sharing that. So I'm assuming you do the 12 steps. You got a sponsor and everything. Tell me about your program and why was it so effective?
Okay, so I got into a 12-step program. And in the beginning, I didn't have no car, I didn't have no money, I didn't have no nothing. And my sister, I was living with her, and we started talking about treatment. Okay, we got to try to find a treatment center. I was trying to call all kind of like Cedar House, tons of different places. If they have beds, they didn't. So that's when I found the sober living. But I found a meeting, and I thought my very first meeting was an NA meeting actually in Ontario, and it was at night, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was like I have tons of friends in NA. That's been sober for years. I have plenty of friends in NA, but I never continued going to NA.
Right.
I found CA, which is Cocaine Anonymous.
Okay.
And I didn't know that existed actually, honestly, but it's been around longer than I've been alive. I found. I was like, oh really? Dang. Yeah. I didn't know that. I was like, and I thought I was going to a CA meeting, but then it turned out to be a AA meeting. But then I called the lady on the phone and says, oh, no, it's okay. You can come. It's fine. But at this time, I'm not an alcoholic in my mind. I just, the cocaine is the problem. That's what it is. So that's how it started. I went to my very first meeting. I identified as a newcomer. And at the end of the meeting, this big black guy, he walked straight up to me, beelined it to me. He introduced himself, and he bought me my book that I still got today. And he said, he gave me his number, and he said, here, call this guy. And 4 days later, bam, that guy became my sponsor.
Nice.
And then he's still my sponsor. And what I learned early on, whenever I get a chance to share, I always say this, and I will say it to the day I die. The first thing that I learned was the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. Like, nothing will come close to this at all. Nothing. And that was being honest with myself. Oh, bro, that was so hard. I mean, when you got this way of thinking and you've been lying to yourself for 20 years, I mean, you kind of just turn the switch and then, okay, I'll start telling the truth now. So the first thing I learned was honesty, and then willingness, and open-mindedness. So willingness to do it somebody else's way, and then that's what I've done. I stayed sober this long by doing it somebody else's way because my way wasn't working. And then keeping an open mind. It's so important. Like, in general, I believe, addict, non-addict, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, like I think it'll benefit us if we keep our minds open.
Big time.
Because it's like like when somebody trying to throw something at you and you got your fist closed and it just goes boom. We're not open to receiving because I know everything, but you can't teach me nothing. I know. Like I had that kind of mentality, and a closed mind is already defeated. I found out.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that, bro.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, would you recommend your program to somebody else, and why? Because I feel like a lot of people aren't very open-minded, and including myself, I wasn't early on.
Yeah, people have said that, the 12 steps are not for everybody. But this is my take on it. This is not a fact. This is just my opinion. It's not fact. It's just so I make that clear, because when I post videos or things like that, people start to message me. Honestly, I don't take the bait. They try to bait me into an argument. Nope. So again, this is just my opinion. So in my opinion, I believe any human being on the planet that works a 12-step program, they apply what they learn, they will recover. It's like impossible not to. Now, however, there's different personalities and this and that, and then of course we've got traditions and all these things. But that's my take on it. But I'm not saying, because I'm also that's another thing I forgot to mention. I became a counselor, a substance abuse counselor, and I learned as I was going to school to be a counselor, that that they said that, and that one didn't sit right with me when I first learned that. I was like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Of course everybody can get sober. Just got to do the work, like how I did, kind of thing. Still had that thinking. I've been sober for like 2-3 years at that point,
right?
But I learned that not everybody is like one full-blown alcoholic, one full-blown drug addict that comes into treatment centers. It could have literally been just bad luck, DUI. Oh, they got to go to this, that, or they're just really hard drinkers and users, and they can actually stop on their own accord. But see, me, I could not stop. I just could not. Once I started, I couldn't stop. Like if somebody had a gun to like my son's head and said, "Hey, you do one more line of cocaine, I'm gonna blow his head off," my son would have been dead. It's not because I wanted him dead. I literally could not stop. But that's my take on it. Like, I mean, I would encourage anybody to if you sober curious, you're trying to figure out if you got a problem or not, try it. But I kind of I don't want to use the word try. You know what I mean? Like be all in or be all out kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that's just how I am. I'm like, if I gotta do something, I'm gonna do it. Like, my wife knows that about me. Like, and it's just, that's how I am. Because like it can be with anything in life, like a new business. There's tons of these things. And I tried that, it didn't work. I tried that, it didn't work. I mean, did you work, bro? You know what I mean? What happened? Whatever. Yeah. It's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Yeah, exactly. It's like coming into the rooms, and like you're not gonna just catch recovery by osmosis, by rubbing on somebody. You got to do the work, man.
Right.
That's the bottom line. That, in my opinion, again, the secret to, I guess, the life that I have today, it all boiled down to hard work, bro. Hard work. Because being honest with yourself, that is some hard work, man. The 12 steps is the opposite of everything I want to do, and that everything that I'm used to doing. So one thing that it has taught me that I'm so grateful for is that it has taught me how to think about you more than I think about me. I mean, just that one can just totally change your life. Just that one little one, just doing that alone, because life was miserable just thinking about myself.
Yeah, no, I understand, bro. I understand exactly where you're coming from. And similar to you, I don't believe that anybody that does the 12 steps can get anything wrong from it. Of course, you got to go all in and do the work. Because as you know, I haven't done the 12 steps, but I'm super open. I'm actually going to start doing them, even though I have my 5 years already sober.
I'm so happy for you, bro.
I am, because I want to grow more as a person. And I know that I can by doing these steps, man. Thank you for sharing that. That's powerful stuff that you just said right now. I know you talked about early on that you don't really think that using and drinking stemmed from anything. So there was nothing at all that you think like, hey, this was the reason why, because you had a pretty good childhood. You did mention that you were an introvert.
Yeah, big time. So actually, I never thought about that. You could be onto something, bro, because I like that the effect it produced because I was an introvert. A lot of my cousins, they're extroverts. Like they're they're the life of the party kind of. They miss the aloha. You know what I mean? And they can talk. They don't need drugs and alcohol to be sociable. But I did. Kind of thing. So I really looked up to my older cousins. And I wanted to be like them. I would try to dress like them, wear my clothes like them. Make my hair like them. Dye it like them. Make it different colors, whatever. And ultimately it was that effect that it produced. But I don't know if it would. I mean, this is my guess. Even if I wasn't an introvert, it probably still would have happened to me. Because it just even more so. It would have been, like, okay, if I already think I look good, I even look better now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. The confidence is through the roof. Yeah, your dance moves are way more better. You don't dance, you boogie.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let's get into purpose.
Yeah.
I know you really like this subject, and the reason why I like to talk about purpose is because I was sober for like 4 years, right? Yeah. And it felt good. I was like, this is cool. I'm not who I used to be. Everything was clicking. My relationships, I was making money. But something in me wasn't, I had a void still, and it was lack of purpose. What is your definition of purpose, and what do you think it is for you?
Okay, I'm gonna answer those questions in reverse.
It's all good.
So, I didn't grow up. I have a relationship with God today through His Son that He sent. I'm not a religious person at all. I have a personal relationship with Jesus, though. I got that. And what was meant for my harm, God took it and he turned it into good. Drugs and alcohol should have killed me. Like, bro, I didn't. God moved me out of the way of so much bullets.
That's his way of staying anonymous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because there was countless times, bro, I would go through roadblocks drunk, like half blacking out already. And like, I'm halfway out of my car, like, hey, talking to the cops, you know what I mean? Like, they obviously know I'm
That's
drunk.
happened to me too,
and
bro.
they just let me go. Okay, have a good night. Oh, okay, I'm out of here,
And
it's crazy. I'll get pulled over for speeding, drunk. Okay, here you go, just ticket, blah, blah, blah. That's it. So many, I mean, that's just the ones I can think of off the top of my head.
Right, I'm sure there's plenty of them.
But even like plenty girls I had sex with, you know what I mean? Like, thank God I don't got AIDS, I don't got any STDs, and I got myself checked out when I got sober, bro. Like, amazing. So, God's grace just been chasing me down all the days of my life, man. It's amazing. So, like, what I do today, becoming a counselor, my 12-step program, I sponsor other men. But outside of that, I believe the direction God wanted me to go in is to be in the field of, addiction, mental health, all these different things, traumas. And because, the cocaine, the alcohol, it birthed this purpose in me, like my purpose active in addiction was to get high, to get drunk, and to damage relationships and to hurt people and to hurt myself. And, I think, this addiction, this disease of addiction, it only exists to steal, kill, and destroy. Ooh. That's it. Addiction will love you to death. It will love you to
literally.
death. Literally, but, I have so much purpose today now in my life. Like doing these things, these sharing my story. I do my own thing on IG, on Instagram Live.
Exactly.
Sharing my story, because like I had other people that I would, because with COVID, like, I'm not working in any treatment centers,
right?
But I would have other people I would counsel one-on-one, and they'll just pay me cash. You know what I mean? But see, counseling and sponsorship, two totally different things, but it's similar in a way of. See, how my sponsor sponsored me, he never tried to take away my free will. And he literally always suggested things. He never told me to do this, do that. He never did that, ever, to this day. And I think, like, that's what I seek after most about him, is that he allows me to have my own experience. Right. He's not trying to control me.
He doesn't push anything on you.
Yeah, nothing like that. But purpose, see, this is in order. My purpose first is, I'm a Christian, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a substance abuse counselor. When I got those things out of order, oh man, I become restless, irritable, discontent, and and then I got these attitudes and mood swings, and I can always trace it back to that somewhere. Like, maybe I'm not going to enough meetings, I'm not meeting with my sponsor enough, I'm not praying enough, I don't have any commitments at meetings or anything like that. But I think the biggest, for me anyways, the I don't say the best way, but like sponsoring somebody else, that one to me, it's like a commitment, like, you know what I mean, because I'm not thinking about me, I'm thinking about that person,
right?
And helping them, and in sponsoring, it helped me in a way, grew me to become a counselor, because in that aspect, we don't tell people what to do in treatment centers and things like that. We're not supposed to.
right.
It's just, we cannot give advice, believe it or not, and stuff like. You're not supposed to. I'm saying. And one thing I learned in school was crazy. The instructors would tell the class that you're not doing whatever you do not share your personal story with them. I was like, that's something I disagreed with.
That's tough, because it's hard for me to stay quiet.
I know. It's like, how the heck they're gonna relate to me? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm gonna tell them my whole life story. Right. But at least so they can identify, because when that happens, when they know, oh wow, that guy, he sounds like me, their heart goes bang, their mind goes bang. Yeah. They're more open and receptive to hearing what you have to say.
Right.
Yeah. So all in all, that's purpose for me. Yeah.
Dude, and I like what you said, because that's, we did an interview together on your Instagram Live, and I really thank you for having me on. I'll share the link in the description down below, how you can reach Alika. And also, subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. I got to ask you one more question.
Okay,
one more question
here we go. I heard about this question.
Okay, so in my opinion, there's 3 things in life that are guaranteed, and they're marked in our gravestone. That is the day we were born, the day we passed away, and we always overlook that dash in the middle. What is that dash in the middle going to represent for you? What do you want to represent for yourself?
So like my dad would always tell me, we born and then we die, but it's what you do in the middle that people don't remember.
Exactly.
It's one thing I've learned is that, people, they'll forget what you say, they'll forget what you do, but they'll never forget the way you make them feel.
Right.
When you're only thinking about yourself, people gonna have all these negative feelings about you, but honestly, like I something like that for me, like to kind of sum up my answer is, I would like people to remember me as, someone that was a good example for them to follow. I'm not perfect. Trust me.
No.
Just because I got sober don't mean I'm perfect. Man.
Believe me, I like to preach that myself.
Dude,
Trust me.
Yeah, but I live my life today like somebody who's struggling with drugs and alcohol is watching me, even when I'm alone. I try to, because see, in the dark I was one way, in the light I was a different way. But I today I'm consistent. In the dark I'm this way, in the light I'm this way. It wasn't always like that for me, but it is like that for me today. And again, I just thank God, man, for the life I got today. I mean, I got married. A woman said I do to me. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
And then now we just had a baby. Amazing.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
brother.
Oh, and another thing too, like this is another, my son, technically he was a miracle child, we found out, because my wife, her uterus, her cervix, basically, long story short, the sperm got to go in there to get her pregnant. But hers was like snapped shut, and it was like, the way the doctor described it, it was like somebody welded it shut.
Wow.
Yeah. So like they had a hard time finding it when she was giving birth. And then that's when we found out all that about him. And another thing I did not mention was, since I've been 15 years old, my biggest dream, how people want to be like singers and astronauts and this and that. I wanted to be a husband and a father.
Wow.
Since I was 15 years old, I knew that's what I wanted, and I knew God would, he keeps promises, So, that's, I don't know if I answered the question correctly.
No, you did.
Yeah, okay.
You went above and beyond, bro. I really like that answer, man. Like I said earlier, we really relate, and I know we had this conversation before on your live. We really do relate. We have similar way of thinking, man. I really appreciate you. I'm looking forward to doing more interviews with you in the coming future. So, with that being said, man, thank you for rolling up, man. I really appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thank you for having me, bro. Anytime,
man. Thank you.